Okay, so we're looking at gas testing. I've got 4 jars here of gas. This one's carbon dioxide. I'm not sure, there we go, better if I hold it against myself there. This one is oxygen. Then I've got a jar of chlorine. And then finally I've got a jar of hydrogen. Now we're going to start with hydrogen. You may have seen hydrogen before, but hydrogen, as most of you hopefully will know, is very, very flammable, which means that if I light this splint on fire, in your exam you're going to need to refer to it as a lit splint. If I light this one on fire, I can set my hydrogen on fire, and the observation that you will see, and more importantly hear, is referred to as a squeaky pop. So that's the noise that the hydrogen makes as basically it sets fire. So that's a characteristic squeaky pop, and that is the gas test for hydrogen. Okay, next up we're going to have a look at oxygen. Okay, now oxygen, hopefully you also know, is something that is very much needed when you're burning things. So the gas test for oxygen, we're going to use what's referred to as a glowing splint. Okay, so that's a lit one that's been blown up. And oxygen will relight a glowing splint. In fact, oxygen is very good at relighting glowing splints, such that I could probably do this for quite a while without really having huge amounts of issues. As long as there's some oxygen in there, it's enough to get that glowing splint to relight. So that's oxygen. So hydrogen, squeaky pop. Oxygen is a glowing splint that relights. We've then got carbon dioxide. Now you may have looked at carbon dioxide before as well. The test for carbon dioxide is to use lime water. Now lime water is a sort of slightly off-white colour to start with, but you're going to need to refer to it as colourless in the exam. And hopefully when we add some of this lime water in here, we should see it change from that colourless colour that should start to a milky colour. So the gas test for carbon dioxide is where's the camera? There it is. Okay, so it's a milky colour, and in fact, because there is so much carbon dioxide in here, it's actually gone back to being slightly colourless. But the gas test for carbon dioxide then is colourless lime water turning milky. Okay, so the gas test for carbon dioxide, colourless lime water turning milky. Now the final one, chlorine. There's a couple of ways that you would know it's chlorine anyway, or probably know it's chlorine, but there is an official gas test. So I don't know if this is going to come up. I might just use some white roll here. You might well be able to see it is ever so slightly yellow in colour, the gas itself. Technically you'd refer to it as green, but it probably is yellow. So if they ask you what colour it is, it's green or yellow. But that's probably one way you'd know it's chlorine. The second way you'd know it's chlorine is that it smells of swimming pools, obviously, because they use chlorine to decontaminate the water. But the exam answer that we're looking for here is damp blue litmus paper. So litmus is an indicator. It's blue in alkalis, it's red in acids. And if it's blue litmus paper, it stays blue in neutral. Now, when I add my damp blue litmus paper, you should see, hopefully, that that's gone red. And then, as it's been kept in the chlorine a little bit longer, in fact, it should go all the way past red and bleach to be white in colour. Okay, so you're looking for blue litmus paper turning red and then bleaching. Okay, and that is because the litmus paper reacts with the chlorine to produce actually some acid, which then is bleached in colour because of the nature of the chlorine. So your 4 gas tests are hydrogen, a squeaky pop with a lit splint, oxygen, a glowing splint relighting, carbon dioxide, lime water going from colourless to milky, and chlorine, blue litmus paper going red and then bleaching.